So for this next exercise, we are going to be calculating sales tax. And we're going to be calculating sales tax on consumer goods. So if a consumer good is taxed at the regular price, we'll get a 10% tax. If it is an exempt item, so like a book or a medical product, there will be no tax for it. And if it's imported, it'll have a tax of 15%. So let's see what the final product of this will look like. So we'll run Ruby sales tax.rb, and we can see that we have a couple of goods. We have a book and we have a CD, and you can see the initial price of these and the total, the subtotal cost of our items, the total tax, and the grand total of everything together. Now we are going to go through and start building this out. So let's create a new file and call it sales tax 2.rb. Let me show you another way of creating a file also. If we just came over here, we could do touch print receipt 2.rb. That's going to be the other file that we need. And now we will have both of those files available to us. So, in our sales tax, we are going to start by creating a class of product, and we are going to initialize some items. So what are some of the items that we are going to need for this application to work? One thing we might need is an item name. Similar, it could be a product name, call it whatever you might want. Probably going to need a price, an initial price for the item before tax. And then we're going to need to know whether the item is exempt or whether it's imported. So let's set our variables. It's equal to imported. Okay, now that we have our data that we're going to need to start with to make this program work, we're now going to want to calculate the different taxes for a specific good. So let's create a method for that. We're going to call it calculate tax. And so we're going to use a conditional statement or an if statement, and that conditional is going to say that if an item is exempt, or well, if the value for exempt, I should say, is equal to false, and the value for imported is equal to true, calculate the price or the tax at price times 0.15. So what we're doing here is if the value entered for exempt is false and the value entered for imported is true, then we are going to calculate the tax at 15%. So this good is an imported good. So now we're going to calculate the rest of the tax. So then else, if the value for exempt, actually, well, let's not need to continuously do this. Exempt is false and imported is false. We're going to set our tax variable at price times 10%. 0.1 would have been fine. And actually this is going to be an else if, because we're going to have more than one statement. And then else if, let's get out of here. We'll do this one more time. Else if exempt is true. This is, one of the books or medical products or whatever else might be exempt, and it's not imported. We are going to calculate tax at $0. And then let's end this conditional, end our method. Oh, and I forgot to end the class earlier. And so now we have this tax. So let's actually, when we initialize a new object, we're going to actually start with tax being $0. That's going to be the default. And now we kind of have the basic functionality for this. If we were going to create a new product object, it would look something like, I don't know, book is equal to product.new, and let's pass it the parameters. It's gonna be what's a book name? Grapes of Wrath. And that is going to cost, we'll say cost, well, you can't put $1, $12.99, and for whether it is exempt because it's a book, and it is not imported. Hopefully I spelled Grapes of Wrath right. That would be the way that you would initialize this object, and the tax would be calculated for you. So in our next video, we're going to actually print a receipt for our new products, and we're going to show you how that is done, and we're going to walk you through it.